Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I actually debated if I want to film this video or not because as you guys can see, we have a guest. We have a huge guest. Unfortunately, this year my cycle fell on my birthday, and so I'm just experiencing breakouts. And yeah, so let's welcome the guest and let's get started. Guys, I can't believe I'm officially 30. I turned 30 2 days ago, and I just feel so good. I feel free. I feel like I am who I'm meant to always be, and I'm finally following that path. And I know if you guys look at my past videos, I feel like I was still trying to find who I was. When I turned 29, I started to feel an inner peace of accepting who I was. And as I'm entering 30, it's the year of redemption for the past years that I did not show up for myself. It's the year of follow through. It's the year of faith. It's the year of being self. It's the year of accepting self. It's the year of loving self. And I'm just so excited for this new chapter because I feel like my 20s were given to who I thought I should be and being around people that did not value me. And I tried to fit into that spaces that I wasn't supposed to be in. And I feel like my 30s is finally stepping into the woman that I want to be, the person I want to be, and accepting that. And it might not align with who I thought I was going to be, but that's okay because we love self over here, okay? So I am going to be doing my makeup. I'm going to be doing really light makeup because my birthday already passed. I was trying to film this on my birthday, but I was rushing to go to dinner, so I'm not really doing much today to be wearing a full face of makeup, but I am gonna go get some brunch with my brother, and then afterwards I'm gonna go sit by the pool. So I don't want to do something too heavy, but I did get the Milk Hydro Primer. I had the smaller one before, and now I'm gonna do the big one. I got the bigger one just to have it forever. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's too late to return it. But yeah, for this video, I really want to talk about the lessons that I learned in my 20s. And I feel like hopefully this will be helpful for anyone that is, trying to figure out who they are in their 20s and discover that. So let's get started and do our makeup. So I went in with my primer, and then I'm going to be using I can't find my foundation. Oh yeah, my all-time favorite foundation, which is Danessa Myricks. I use this blurring cream for every day. Just look. Low key, I think I need to wash my makeup brushes. That's probably another reason of my breakout because I've been wearing makeup I don't be wearing makeup like that, but I've been wearing makeup for the last 3 days. Cause we celebrating every day. We celebrate for the whole month, honey. The whole month is my birthday. My birthday falls on August 1st, so I just kind of, take the whole month. But yeah, so yes, we're gonna go on Danessa Myricks while I talk about some of the lessons I learned in my 20s. The first lesson I learned in my 20s was say what you mean and do what you say, no matter who it offends. I feel like a lot of times that we're scared to really express ourselves because we don't want to get so-and-so mad, and we don't want to get this person mad, or we care about how it makes us look. But you have to stay true to yourself no matter what the world is expecting you to be. If you don't want to be in somebody's wedding, you say you don't want to be in that wedding, and it doesn't mean you don't love that person. It's just because you don't have the financial bandwidth, or you just don't have the mental bandwidth to be in that wedding, then saying you're going to be in the wedding, and then you're not showing up how you should be showing up for somebody's special day. And next thing you know, friendship is over. So say what you mean and mean what you say. Period. But who gets offended? They get offended. But I think people will respect you in the long run if you're really honest about who you are than constantly trying to show up like somebody that you're not. Goddamn, no amount of foundation is gonna take this away. And y'all, can you believe that I did these braids myself? I did like a half braid, half sewing, and it's only been like 2 weeks. And it's looking like all my life I had to fight. So I'm taking them out next weekend. I'm like, let me at least get 3 weeks in. Jesus. But And then the number two lesson that I learned as in my 20s was don't be fake. And that goes with the first one. Don't be fake. If you find yourself having to act like you like somebody that you don't like, stop it. If you find yourself having to tolerate somebody or be in spaces that you know you don't want to be in, stop it. Take yourself out of those spaces and find the spaces that you feel aligned in. Find the people that you feel aligned in. Find the people that value your honesty. Find the people that value who you are as just a regular person. We got to stop being fake. You don't have to fake it to make it. That was made up for the corporate world. Like, you know what I mean? And if that's the space that you're in, you know, you got to chit chat with a coworker a little bit. That's not necessarily being fake. That's being cordial. But when you find yourself going to lunch with the coworker that you hate, baby, you're fake. You're being fake. Okay? I think we got a little coverage. We got enough coverage. So don't do that shit. The third one is drugs and alcohol will only numb your pain for such amount of time. Give it to God. Give it to God. Whatever is heavy on your heart that is holding you, that is pushing you to go to drugs and alcohol, any form, you got to give it to God. A lot of my 20s, I was high on weed, just weed, child. I ain't do nothing else. But I'm sure I was probably laced a couple of times because I did have some psychosis. But my 20s, I was so high to numb my pain of not being the person that I wanted to be, or being in the spaces I wanted to be in, or doing things I necessarily didn't care to do, because that was just my environment that I was in. I wanted to be a part of it, and not, instead of seeing the pushback that wasn't the spaces for me, I would just numb myself to do it. I didn't start smoking to when I went to college, and I would literally have to smoke to go to parties. I would have to smoke to go to activities I did not care to go to, because I wanted to go to the museum, baby. I wanted to go to the library. But everyone else was at the parties. And even, I remember, I think I would have talked about this in another story, like when I told a friend, like, hey, I don't want to go to a party. They showed up to my apartment talking about, oh, you're depressed, you don't want to go to a party. Baby, I'd rather be home watching Cartoon Network, and y'all want me to go to a party so bad. And I eventually ended up going to the party, and I had to smoke to be in that party. I had to do drugs and alcohol to be in those spaces. So I got a little bit of blush on this. It just naturally be doing a blush look. So looking back, I really wish that I stayed true to myself and just stuck to what I didn't want to do. And, you know, of course, drugs and alcohol, it numbs more than that. It numbs trauma. It numbs the pains that you're going through. Like, sometimes you just don't want to deal with the reality of your life. But I am 60 days on my birthday. So now I'm like 62 days sober from smoking weed. Smoking weed every single day, 3 times a day. And I know it's still a short period of time, but I've been trying to stop since I was in my mid-20s, 25, and I have stopped. I've had 6 months where I stopped. I've had, you know, close to a year where I stopped, but I always went back because I wasn't dealing with the root of the problem. And this time when I stopped, it wasn't a personal reason. It wasn't, well, it was kind of a personal reason because I found out I had a heart condition. But even with that, I'm sure that the old me would have still kept on smoking because I didn't want to deal with that. But also, it's because I finally just gave it to God. All my pain, I don't know, those contours given. All my pain, all my trauma, I gave it to God. I released it to God, and I just let him heal me instead of trying to constantly heal myself through numbing my pain. Life is about, if you even read the Bible, we're going to go through struggles all the time. And eventually you're going to have to learn how to cope with that and be able to still make decisions within that struggle than trying to always just hide yourself from going through struggle, you know? So let's stop. We have to stop numbing ourselves. I know it feels good for now, and take your time. You don't have to stop today, but you give it to God, and slowly he will start to remove you from that environment. He will slowly start to remove you from those things that you were holding on to make you feel better in those settings. The fourth thing that I've learned in my 20s is don't try to make people that don't love themselves try to love you. Okay? Baby, don't. If they don't love themselves, how would they love you? If people are numbing themselves, if people are not in spaces, they're not following their dreams, they're not following their passions, if they're not happy, if they're not fulfilled with the life path that they chose, how could they properly show up for you? How could they be a good sounding board for what you have going on? You have to understand that you have to show up for yourself. You have to be the one to understand yourself. You are the one that knows who you are and what you're destined to be, you and God. And so you have to stop depending on other people to be that sounding board for you when they don't even know what path they're doing, what path they're going. They're not even hearing from God, you know? So I haven't showed you guys the products. So I went in with like my black opal. Love this as a contour stick, and then I use my NARS concealer, and then I'm gonna just go in with my Danessa not my Danessa Myricks. This is a Charlotte Tilbury spray. I'm just gonna use this for my highlights, and just to make it a little bit dewy. Child, it'll go a long way, okay? Y'all see that? Which leads me to my next one is don't only hang out with people whose values and morals align with you. Like, I found in my 20s, I was hanging out with people that were, I did not align with them when it came to their morals and their values, but I'm like, oh, they're a good person, they're funny. Like, child, that's only gonna take you so far. You have to be around people whose morals aligns with you. If you believe in God, hang around other believers. If you don't believe in using people, hang around other people that are not users. If you don't believe in manipulating people, don't hang out with people that are manipulative. Like, a lot of friendships that I had, I was even scared to end it because I'm like, I know what's gonna come with the consequences of ending this relationship because I've seen what they've done to other people. Once you see a red flag, you gotta get out of there. And I ignored a lot of red flags growing up. Like, I remember one time I went to lunch with this new girl that I met, and she was telling me how she was like scamming and all that stuff. And like, I'm not a scammer, but I was just like, oh, okay. And I remember I left lunch with her, and I was telling my sister, oh, she's so cool, but you know, she do be scamming. And my sister was like, don't ever see that girl again. And you know, I was like, but you know, I did listen to my sister because I'm like, I have a bad history of, you know, the friends I'll be choosing to keep around me. So that is true. If she's scamming other people, will I not eventually get scammed? Yeah. So I just go in with some, I love this powder. That's what I do for my highlights, my under eye. The next one I'm going to talk about is relationships, okay? The wrong man will only bring misery. Learn to love yourself so that you can attract the right one. My whole 20s, I was a late bloomer when it came to dating and I'm losing my virginity. I didn't lose my virginity until I was 24, but my choice, which I think that's why people say wait till you're ready to do that, because I wasn't born to the person I did it with. I did it because I was just ready to, you know, because I was moving to New York and I'm like, I wasn't in a relationship, but I was like, I'm about to meet other people and let me just break the ice so I can, you know, do me. And that's when I realized it ain't even all of that. Child, it is not even all of that. And I'm going in with my Fenty Beauty bronzer. Oh, I didn't even do my blush. So, if they don't know how to groove that motion in that ocean, do not get in that water. I'm saying it again for y'all. Do not get in that water. But and then do not be desperate for a relationship too. I was not into relationships. Like, I didn't prioritize it because my mom did not prioritize that growing up. I wasn't in a household where it was constantly about men. And I didn't see my mom get abused by a man, you know, except my dad, but she left him. So I knew that if you weren't being treated right, you gotta leave, you know. So, but my late 20s, because all my friends were in relationships, I started to really started being sad because it's like, one, they were prioritizing their relationship, so it was hard to hang out with my girlfriends without, you know, being around their man. So it's like I started to feel the emotion of like, dang, I really don't have a relationship. I've never really been in a serious relationship like that. I've had, you know, 6 months to like 8 months relationships, but I'm a leaver. Like, I always left when I'm just like, this is not aligned with me. And I was always aware that sometimes the people I was dating was just not someone I wanted to be with long term. I'm still learning how to do my blush placement, to be honest. And this is the Juvia Place Perky Poppy. And so when I entered when I was 28, and that's when I was like really thirsty to be in a relationship. I'm not gonna hold you. And so I met a man and he ruined my life. Literally took all my savings, ruined my life, ruined my mental health. That I spent the next 2 years healing from a relationship that only lasted 6 months because I was love bombed. And I thought I was in love with Legion's son. Y'all know Risa Tisa? Legion's son. He had to be Legion's son, the way this man was lying out of his mouth. But because I was in a space of wanting a relationship so badly, the devil was able to use a man to come into my life to stop me on the move that I had for myself. And it backtracked my life so it backtracked my life for 2 years of trying to get back to the space that I'm in and being able to still mess up my finances, and that's, I'm just like, the wrong man will only bring misery. If it's the right man, you're going to be elevated in spaces and elevated mentally and emotionally in ways that you've never been elevated. And even with that, don't be afraid to leave when you feel like something no longer aligns with you. That the right man can eventually turn into the wrong man. And once you realize that that's no longer the right man, you can choose to opt out of that relationship. Don't let that man deceive you and make you stay in that relationship talking about he your soulmate and all he bringing is brokenness. Don't do that. And even with that, when you do come across people that are there to tear you back, you have to forgive. And a lot of times you don't want to forgive because somebody did something drastic to hurt you. And I get that, but forgiveness is for you. You have to forgive, but don't you forget, honey. Forgive, don't forget, and you move accordingly. Moving forward, you don't have to be in the same space as those people. You don't have to let them back in your life, but you do have to just forgive for yourself so that you're not carrying that mental burden around you as, for your whole life and, end up being bitter and sad because somebody did something to you and you're end up blocking your blessings to meet in other people. Don't do that. One of my main things that I had to learn the hard ways was set boundaries. Set boundaries. And if they don't respect those boundaries, then they have to have consequences for their actions for not respecting your boundaries. It doesn't matter how small your boundaries is. If that is something that makes you feel safe and something that you need to be in a relationship or friendships with somebody, make that very clear. And if that person doesn't respect that, that means they don't respect you. And it's time to have consequences for their actions. If that means you have to cut them off, if that means that you have to not talk to them as much as you do, if that means that you have to change the dynamic of your relationship, do that. But with boundaries with no consequences is just saying stuff that if you're not gonna uphold it yourself, why would the person that you're setting the boundaries with uphold it? Because they know there's no consequence for their actions. Just like when you're dating a cheater and there's no consequences for cheating, you think a cheater gonna stop cheating? No. They're gonna keep doing it because they know they could get away with it. You think an armed robber is gonna stop robbing you when you're not calling the police and reporting them and sending their picture? No, they're gonna keep robbing you because you're an easy target. Learn to trust yourself and your intuition. You have to learn to trust yourself and your intuition because you're the only person in this world that has your back 100% of the time. You're the only person in your life that's gonna have, I'm starting like Dr. Umar, but you're the only person in your life that's gonna have your back 100% of the time. So God gives you intuition and discernment so that you can trust yourself. The person next to you might not see that, or might not see why you what you see in somebody else and why you want to keep your distance or anything like that. But you trust your intuition because you have it for a reason. And if you keep ignoring your intuition, you're going to be very sad. I was like, you're going to be sad as you get older that that some of the choices, some of the gut feelings that you had, you didn't trust it. And then you're going to be making decisions that does not align with you because you don't trust yourself. But to trust your intuition, you have to trust yourself. You need to trust yourself. You need to love yourself. You need to know that you know what's right for you. Still got the Fenty highlighter, y'all. Still got the Fenty highlighter. I always mistakenly skip this step, but I'm going to just add a little bit of, a little bit of that shimmer. I don't know if this shimmer is shimmering anymore. I'm just on some bullshit. And that's like, I thought I was gonna do a little simple face, but that is light for me. It's simple. Just to comb them out and so yeah. It's a little natural brow situation. Should I put a bowl on this? Or then it's gonna be more obvious. And the last thing that I wanted to touch on for advice on the 20s is people change. Just because you met somebody when you were 18 and they were this person, when you turn 25, they can be a different person. 10 years later, people change, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. But once somebody changes and they show you that they're no longer who you thought they were, stop holding on to an old version of themselves and believe who this new person is. Okay? I feel like a lot of times we hold on to relationships because, oh, they were so kind when I first met them. This goes to relationships and like in any type of relationship, or even like your boss. I usually like to put my lip liner on my lips when it's dry so that I could, you know, really get that. I had to put the gloss on, you know, I don't be looking crazy when I come on here. So then, yeah, like you meet your boss for the first time, they're so nice, they're so supportive, they're so helpful, and then next time they turn into a micromanager and you're holding on to the job and you're being abused in the job, but you're holding on to it because like it was such a lovely company when I first started, but it's not anymore. Okay, Ashley, your boss is no longer nice. So it's time for you to believe who she really is. Now she's showing her true colors, and you need to start applying for new jobs to get out of there. Okay? And then I go in with this butter gloss. Ooh. And then I go in with the e.l.f. lip oil in Honey Talks. Anyways. And you're gonna kind of just, if I had more lip liner, this would like look so much better, but it still looks really good. Yeah, that's the lip combo. But yeah, guys, that is all I have for in what lessons I learned in my 20s and I plan to carry in my 30s. Okay, I trust myself. I know what I'm feeling is right. I know the spaces I deserve to be in. I know the type of person I am. I love myself, and that's all that matters. And I'm not gonna let y'all even leave so y'all see me put some edge control on. We are back. I don't know if the camera done fell down, but I just left these out to cover the edges. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys value this advice, and I hope that you guys really take into consideration. You don't have to apply everything. Take what works for you. And thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day. Mwah.